Disclaimer, I am not sponsored by nor am I affiliated with any of the companies mentioned in this video. All opinions are presented are mine and mine alone. They don't represent anyone besides myself. Your opinions may differ. That's okay. Try this stuff out yourself in order to find out if it works for you.
Hi everybody, it's me, Krista. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome for the very first time to my little art corner here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be unboxing the June 2019 Sketchbox and then going to be making a project. Hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun together, but let's get into it. As always, we have our super cute little Sketchbox sticker in box form. This is going to go on my printer right now.
As always, we get a nice little featured artist thing inside. And this month is Gris. We met Gris while in Frankfurt, Germany, attending Creative World. Immediately, we were drawn to his live watercolor demonstrations. Gris paints and draws so he can think. While other artists eventually went to school, Gris kept on painting. He now has over 3 decades of experience. He sketches daily, whether it be traveling on the train or demonstrating new art supplies at a trade show. His projects of choice involve watercolors, contemporary acrylic, mixed media works, and large-scale murals. Gris was kind enough to make us 2 pieces of art this month. If you'd like to get to see his other piece, head over to getsketchbox.com/artists. Check out more of his work at the following locations: www.gris030.de, www.facebook.com/dergris, Instagram at gris030.de. And as always, if you want to get your art featured on Sketchbox, just email them at info@getsketchbox.com.
Next, I have the Sketchbox Premium June box menu, I guess is the best way to describe it. And this is just a touch base for all the items that are coming in this box. I will be reading them off to you soon. I always forget how shiny some of these paint tubes can be because of the silver, the metallic color. We get 4 Winsor & Newton Cotman 8 milliliters. The retail price is $4.99 each, so this is $20 worth right here. This month is all about traditional watercolor. First up, we included 4 of our favorite reasonably priced watercolors to give you a wide range of tones. Cotman Watercolor stands up to the more expensive brands in terms of quality by replacing the mineral pigments with sophisticated synthetic pigments. We chose a landscape palette for your art this month. I actually have a couple sets of these Cotman watercolors from a class I took in college, actually. It was an illustration course. They wanted us to play with watercolors, and these are the ones they recommended because they are more affordable. It is technically a student grade, but they work really well compared to some other student grade watercolors. And as it does say, they can stand up to some of the higher end ones. So it is something I've used before. I'm still kind of happy. The tubes are a pretty good size. They're 8 milliliters, and with it being watercolor, they'll last quite a while. Woohoo! And it looks like we have one more kind of watercolor going on here. It is a Holbein, I'm probably saying that wrong, artist watercolor in Jaune number 2. The retail price is normally $9.65, and this one is our staff favorite. I have heard of this brand before. It is supposed to be a really good one. I've never used it, so it will be kind of exciting to see how it compares to something I have used before. This extra fine European style transparent watercolor, known for its purity, permanence, and brilliance, preserves the brush handling qualities inherent in Japanese watercolor techniques. Because it contains no oxgall, animal byproducts, or other dispersing agents, Holbein watercolor moves slowly, allowing for great color density and brush control. We picked a flesh color to extend your palette to include portraits and sunsets. Nice. So if it doesn't include any animal products. You guys might have to research this better. That could mean that it might be a good paint for some of you vegans out there, but I am not positive. Next, we have a Kiritake Zig H2O brush, and it's a long detailer brush, and the retail price for this is normally $7.50. This water brush is great for its ability to add fine details to your watercolor painting. Since it stores water in its long barrel design, you can precisely control the amount of water in the brush. Flow control makes a traditionally hard to handle medium much easier. And I will agree with that. Watercolor is a notoriously difficult medium to get a hold of. And honestly, sometimes it's better just to kind of let it do what it wants. If you try to control it too much, it can feel a little dead. That's my opinion, though. I know there are plenty of people who use watercolor in extremely precise and beautiful ways. I'm just not one of them. That might say more about my capabilities with the medium than the medium itself. And here you can see how nice and fine of a tip that is, and it is definitely a bristle brush. It's nice and soft, which is great, because I feel like with watercolors, unless you want a bunch of texture, you want like the softest of soft bristles, and I just want to keep touching it. That's a problem. Don't want to get my oil on there and mess up the paints. And to fill her up, you'll just want to twist off that cap, put some water in there, and pretty easy concept. And to release more water while using it, there's a giant thing that says push. So you just gotta press down. And this one's pretty malleable, so you're not going to put a lot of pressure to get some more water out of there. I feel like I am amassing quite the collection of Kiritake Zig Fude pens or Kiritake Zig products in general between my Sketchbox and my art snacks each month. That's fine. This is the Kiritake Zig Hike Fude pen. Original price $2.75. This pen has a hard brush fine tip that is ideal for outlining. It contains water-based black pigment ink, so make sure to use it after laying down your watercolors. If you'd like to darken up your watercolors, the ink will blend out with water to achieve that effect. Yeah, you can use that, or it does come with enough colors to kind of maybe mix them together, especially because it comes with the Payne's Gray. But yeah, we will see. I think I have a pretty basic idea of how this one works because of all the other ones we have now. And that will be really good for doing some outline work and some fine line details because that is a baby nib. Nice. This one's a little bit thicker too. Not the nib, but the actual part that you hold is thicker than a lot of them. It feels nice and sturdy. So it is slightly different than the other ones I have. And this is probably what I am most excited about in this box because I have been wanting to try Aqua board for quite a while now. I've been interested in it for the durability reasons because it's a board, it's not a piece of paper, and I was actually interested to figure out if colored pencil work on this or even pastel work on this would be good for something a little bit more durable. I think they have a pastel board too. So I am excited to get to try it to figure out if I might like it for other stuff later. And this is a custom ampersand aqua board in 3x8. The retail price is normally $4, and this is a staff favorite. That is kind of promising that the staff of Sketchbox really like it. Simply put, we love this watercolor surface. It allows proper time for color mixing before it sets in and becomes permanent. We worked with Ampersand to develop this custom size, only available in this box. I'm just going to very quickly go through the pricing of each individual item again and give a total for what the retail price for this box would normally be. The Cotman watercolors, 1, 2, 3, 4, like I said already, 5 times 4 is 20. So that's $20 worth right there just from the small watercolor set we got here. The Holbein watercolor is, or Holbein, I'm going to say it like a million different ways, is normally $9.65. The Kiritake H2O Brush is normally $7.50. The other Kiritake item, which is the Zig Hike Fude pen, is normally $2.75. And the Aqua board is normally $4. So the total for all the items in here is about $44. The box itself is $35 plus $5 for shipping and handling, so you'd be saving about $4. I think it's a nice little starter watercolor set because you get a lot of neutral colors. It'd be great for if you want to learn how to do landscapes or even portraits, as they said. I think it's a good little starter set. And it's about the same price or cheaper than other watercolor sets I have seen before.
I've talked about all my impressions of opening the box. Now we're going to get into the art project itself. I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit more nature bound, but that wasn't quite a landscape, and I wanted it to be something that I don't normally do. So I found this photo called Grape Ivy, and it is by Cindy Koshin, and it is a reference photo from pmp-art.com, also known as Paint My Photo. I'm doing kind of an extreme close-up of part of that photo, and to do so I am using a ruler that came in the January sketchbox, because I can barely draw a straight line without a ruler, and even with one, I do struggle a little bit. So all I'm doing right now is using a mechanical pencil and setting out the lines with the sketch for where everything is going to go. And as I said, this is different subject matter for me. I cannot remember the last time I drew anything that had anything to do with a building. Typically, if I draw plant life, it's just the plant, a really zoomed in version. I don't really tend to do any kind of landscapey kind of things in general. I think it's because I'm nearsighted. Most likely. Stylistically, I wanted this to look very illustrative. I wasn't really going for a realistic quality because I wanted to use that marker that came in this set. Although I'm not painting yet, the sketch process takes quite a while because I'm attempting to be as precise as possible, or at least as precise as I can be. I did want to talk about the fact that these are liquid watercolors, and I do prefer that to pan watercolors. I feel that you can get a better opacity with these kinds, and you can get a lot of different variations because of it being that liquid watercolor, depending on how much water you add, obviously. Although in all fairness, I have not used any really good quality cake style watercolors, so that could be clouding my judgment slightly. For the paint part, I started with the raw sienna because I wanted to use that as an undershade to kind of indicate that the wood had been painted over, because in the reference photo you can see a lot of the wood through that red. It's obviously been through some stuff. It's just a little worn, a little rustic, and I think it adds a nice little quality to this painting. It also makes it easier to throw in all of the colors. And for a lot of this, I'm just mixing the different watercolors that came in here. I mixed that raw sienna with the sap green. I also mix in the Payne's gray to get different variations, and I also even mix in the Indian red that way. My impressions of the Jaune Brilliant, which is the Holbein watercolor, is that it's really, really pigmented. You do not need to use a lot of it to get any level of payoff. It's probably why the tube is so tiny. I really enjoyed it. It's not that the Cotman watercolors from Winsor & Newton are bad. They're fairly pigmented too, but I feel like this one packed a little bit more of a punch than those do. I was shocked by the amount of color that comes out of that, and also how well it can cover up some of the other colors. I had the first layer down, and I'm going in with the Indian red over that raw sienna, and I'm also using some of the sap green to draw in a little bit of another tiny bit of plant life. I also allowed the window inside to dry a little bit and ended up layering some of the Payne's gray over to give the impression of a reflection of a lot of greenery that surrounds this little house or barn. For a lot of the mixing, I did it on a small little watercolor palette that I have. It's a Winsor & Newton one that came with a set that I bought a while ago for school. A lot of the color mixing actually happens on that Aqua board though. I didn't want it to get too muddy, so I did allow for certain areas to dry in between before layering. Because with watercolor, it's very easy to muddy up the colors. I wanted to keep it as pure and kind of more separated than I normally would. I do love the effect that I have, at least here. I do go a little bit ham with the marker later to define everything a little bit more. But I do almost feel like it's more beautiful at this part of the video where you just have the watercolor acting like watercolor. There's something really soothing about looking at it at this point. For the siding of this building, I am using vertical strokes to emulate more what is actually there. If you're using horizontal or diagonal ones, you'd be getting a very different effect. I do really like the Aqua board. It did allow for the watercolor to set for a while, so you could do more blending on the actual Aqua board. Sometimes with watercolor paper, it can dry really quickly, and you have a much more limited space to be able to blend it out. I feel like here it gave you a little bit more time to play around with it. Also, with the Aqua board, you don't have any of the issues of the paper wrinkling, and you don't have that issue that sometimes happens with watercolor paper where it'll start to pill up if you use too much water. I really enjoyed using this surface, and I am excited to try the pastel board for some of my chalk pastel drawings. And I kind of want to see how Aqua board can hold up to using colored pencil with odorless mineral spirits. I want to see how that would work together. I'm going to have to buy some and try it out. If you want to see that, let me know in that comment section down below. And that Kiritake marker that came in here is really nice. It gets some really thin lines, and as it says, you can blend it out pretty well by adding some of the water. Doing that will help it mix with the watercolor that's already down there. As with anything, there's quite a bit of layers. I've been using a lot of glazing techniques, which is basically waiting until the first couple layers are dry and then going over it again. It works almost as though you had different layers of stained glass over each other, and doing that creates different colors. It's interesting to see the different effects you can get by layering different colors on top of each other. And I'm about to start going crazy with that marker. I do a lot of little lines, a lot of almost cross-hatching, some dotting to add some darkness and a little bit more depth. I probably over outlined. You definitely don't need to outline every single thing with watercolor painting. And in a lot of ways, it is more beautiful if you don't, in my opinion. You're gonna see so much black marker usage right now. I will say I thoroughly tested that Kiritake marker, and it worked pretty well. I also cheated and pulled in some white gel pen and also a Faber-Castell pit marker in white. I wanted to further add a little bit more texture to the siding and on the glass, just to add a little bit of brighter white. And for the siding, I wanted to give, again, that effect of it being kind of paint that's worn off of the side. I could have definitely gone without using the gel pens, and I could have used quite a bit less of that black marker. Oh well. If you do want to get an effect where you pull some white back out of something you colored, you can always use an X-Acto knife as well. I have done that technique quite a few times, and you can get some really nice delicate lines as long as you trust yourself to be able to control it well. Overall, I really liked this month's box, and I feel like I've said everything I liked so far, but we'll do a little repeating. I thought the pigmentation level on the Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors is good. Still good. Used them before. Still like it. The Holbein or Holbein one was really awesome. You literally don't need to use a lot of it at all. There's so much pigment in here. It's more expensive, but it seems like it is definitely worth the price tag because the color payoff is amazing. The Kuretake marker I actually enjoyed as well. You can get some really nice thin lines with it. It's easy to control, and being able to blend it out with water on top of the watercolor was pretty nice as well. I did not talk about the water brush that came in here. It was pretty good. It didn't release too much water. You can give it a nice squeeze without applying too much pressure to add on to your little palette. I didn't have any issues with it being hard to control because I know with some water brushes I have had that issue. Overall, I liked it. You can also get some really nice thin delicate lines with it because of how small it is. It's good. So this video is pretty much over. Thank you for taking this time out of your busy day or night to watch it. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, feelings, or concerns, or even if you want to tell me what you thought about these products and what you made with this month's box, let me know in that comment section down below. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. I do Sketchbox videos at least once a month. Once again, thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Bye!